Globalists have said in their white papers, in their own UN documents, that they want to create race-specific bioweapons and other systems to depopulate the planet. A lot of this from my sources is that they're preparing to release bioweapons, claim that they're naturally occurring, and then use that as the cover for civil emergency, societal control, crackdowns on free speech. Obama put the internet kill switch in 5 years ago, and when he got confronted by it by Congress, he said, well, it's in case the bird flu or SARS gets out, and they have to control panic and direct every website in the U.S. to one government announcement. And we looked at every angle and believe a bioweapon release could be the thing they'd release to bring in a world government to counter a global problem. And the UN has said that a global pandemic is the only thing that may save their world government. Mike Adams and I were on air saying if they have these lockdowns for more than just a few months and around the world, it's still ongoing in some areas because the IMF and World Bank controls these third world countries in Asia, Latin America, the Middle East, and Africa. And they say, if you want the money, you've got to lock people down and say they're not essential.
Say again?
Is it possible to prevent the next pandemic?
Yes, if every country does what Australia did, then you wouldn't be calling it a pandemic. That's all.
So it's a short-term thing that these leaders get to enslave their own people, and it puts the UN in charge and in control. Now the UN is trying to get a treaty passed where they have control of all pandemic responses now. So we're going into world government. We're going into the New World Order right now. And so this is just mathematics. If you cut off the fertilizer, if you cut off the oil and the natural gas, if you lock people down around the world, it's going to cause a collapse. And so there's no doubt we're in a collapse. There's no doubt we're in inflation and hyperinflation. The question is, how bad will it get in different sectors of the world, and what's coming here, and how do we get ready?
And these supply chain breakdowns are also going to permanently destroy literally hundreds of thousands of small businesses across America. I interviewed a business owner just the other day asking about these questions. He is able to adapt and barely able to get supplies and keep his business operating. But a lot of businesses, once they hit 1 month where they can't get supplies, just 1 month, many of these businesses will have to liquidate. So they will sell off the equipment, they will lose the employees, and they lose the knowledge base of how to make things. It's important for people to understand that what has already been set into motion, including the economic sanctions against Russia by Western nations, this will spell really inflation doom for the next 1 to 2 years, affecting the food supply, energy supply, and of course many other things. And then, I know you want to bring this in, but the Shanghai lockdowns in China, which I believe are contrived in order to punish the West, that's also going to worsen the supply chain disruptions and make it almost impossible for American companies to get supplies or to even build homes, to acquire resins or electronic parts. I mean, Taiwan companies that operate in China have had to shut down their factories. So they can't even ship out of Taiwan now because they can't get their stuff out of China. China is trying to punish the West. They're trying to break the economies of the United States and Western Europe, and they're willing to lock down and really murder their own people in order to achieve that. Remember that the Shanghai lockdowns are not only affecting the port operations there, they're affecting domestic trucking, which means that the supply chain to the factories in Shanghai is also now completely broken. You can't even get a supply truck from somewhere else in China to come into Shanghai to supply a factory there. So this also means that you can't get containers for international shipping, even in other countries such as Taiwan and Japan and South Korea, which have their own exports, but they're having a very difficult time getting containers because they're all log jammed in Shanghai.
You've got Biden with 20-something approval ratings. 94% of folks blame him for inflation. So it looks like the libtards are finally starting to get it, but is it too little, too late?
Well, I think it is, because the other thing that's going to be set off by this is a massive wave of starving migrants from South America, and they're going to be coming across the border because of what Biden is doing to open up the border. And as the food inflation and fuel inflation worsens, these people are going to suffer collapse in their own nations in Central and South America, and they're going to be streaming into North America. So if people thought the situation was bad right now in terms of illegal immigration and a migrant invasion, it's going to get far, far worse. So we're really looking at a global collapse of the ability of people to buy food and fuel.
And if the public isn't smart enough to get that, they better wake up fast or they're dead.